The 10 o'clock news, this is Mark Smith.
Just after 3 minutes past 10. Good evening to you. Beswick with you, of course, until 2. Ouch. It strikes me as being a little pretentious, that song. You can have my private number. Would anybody want his private number? I very much doubt it. How do to Big Phil at the Deaf Club? And thank you. I don't know why I'm telling you this. You probably can't hear me. Anyway, that's what he says. How do to Big Phil at the Deaf Club? And thank you very much for the handbag that you sent me. Unfortunately, Robin Ross apparently kept it for himself. Suzanne from Wigan. She would also like me to say how do to Evelyn and Ernie Lowe, who are her grandparents. And pretty grand they are too, I am told. Dobridge in Kirkham wants me to say thanks for me chockies to me mum and Paul. Apparently the thanks are to the mum for the chockies and the thank to Paul is for being an idiot. Poor chap. Allan Beswick. You thought ABBA were dead, didn't you? Well, their records aren't. More's the pity. This one is called One of Us. I'm not overly clear which one, but they're singing about it. To let you into a little secret. You may already know. Somebody may well have already burst the bubble, but if they haven't, you will be pleased to know that we're having what can only be described as, well, a rush of blood to the head, really, or money to the hand. We're giving away £10 note, in the plural, one a day, for a period of time commencing on April the 7th, which is, of course, next Monday. And all you've got to do to get this 10 quid note is be spotted with your motor vehicle adorned in the correct manner with a Red Rose Radio car sticker. All you've got to do is get a Red Rose Radio car sticker, if indeed you have not already got one, and shove it in your car window. Easy, innit? And then if we see your car, because we have spotters out and about, the number of your car, the registration number that is, will be read out on the radio. All you've got to do is recognise it and ring in and claim your tenner. It's easy, innit? Of course, if you haven't got a sticker on your car, or at least a Red Rose Radio sticker. We don't give them for CND stickers or I Shot the Sheriff stickers or even I Hate Beswick stickers. They've got to be the true, the only, the one and only Red Rose Radio sticker. Perhaps you'd better call into Red Rose Radio reception during office hours, incidentally, and collect a sticker to thus adorn on your wiginder. Otherwise you can't win. But you could work that out for yourself, couldn't you? Anyway, it's worth a tenner. Never a hit, but it should have been. Lindsay Slater of Oxford Drive in Kirkham wants me to say how do to Bob and Pat of Clegg Street. And also to Mum for being fabulous and for Dad, or to Dad, for taking her out on a Saturday night. Is it for taking out Mum or taking out you, Lindsay? Doesn't actually say on here. We're always getting these dubious messages that could be read either way. This sounds nice, doesn't it? It's Whitney Houston and The Greatest Love of All. It's a song about me again.
I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Find your strength in love. Allan Beswick, the late night show.
Preston, 561,000 to talk to Beswick. It's 11 minutes to 11, and we'll be happy to take your calls. Our Alice is all primed up and ready. And we talk, first of all, to James.
Hello. About this Tony Murphy, there's going to be no more of this, because from now on it's going to be A-B Yank, na 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 na. Hello, Matthew.
Well, we'll look forward to whatever it was you said. Hello, Charlene.
Hello? Hello?
Yes?
I've had a bet with my friend, right?
I don't approve of gambling, and why do you keep saying right?
That you cut me off after 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Yeah.
Well, there's every possibility that I would cut you off well before 10 minutes.
Well, if I she'll get £10 if you cut me off.
Well, you'll have to pay the woman then.
Listen.
How do Andrew?
Alan?
Too young, Andrew. How do Arnold?
Hello, Alan. I want to talk about horoscopes.
Go
Yeah,
on.
well, horoscopes are a load of rubbish, I think, because how can you read things from just looking at the stars? I mean, you know, you read these things in the magazines about what's going to happen to you later on in the week, and they tell this all by looking out at the sky at night. So it's silly.
Well, they don't do it by looking out at the sky at night, to be perfectly honest, Arnold. They do it by knowing where the stars are.
Yeah, but what?
Yeah, but...
Yeah, but what if,
Yeah, but... Well, you see, you're misinformed, it would seem.
But what if, you know, they say, oh, well, you know, next week you're going to come into £6,000 of money and all this.
Well, of course, they never say that, do they?
Yeah.
They never say that, do they?
Hello, Hamilton.
Have you always been a prat child?
Yeah.
Never mind. When you take your 11 plus, you won't get it. Hello, Scott.
Hello, Alan. I'd like to talk about practice behaviour for me.
You'd like to what?
Talk about practice behaviour.
But you are indulged in practice behaviour. Hello, Dave.
Alan, I think Everton are the best team in the league. What do you reckon?
I don't give a toss. How do Ivan?
We love you, Burnley. We do. We love you, Burnley. We do. Love you, Burnley. We do. Oh, Burnley, we love you.
Well, you should have got the whole team in. The whole of the fans could have got them in your lounge without any trouble at all. In fact, they'd have all had a seat. Hello to line 8, Matthew.
Hello, Alan. I'd like to talk about the piracy of computer software. I
Why?
think it should be made legal.
Well, it won't be piracy then. You can't make piracy legal.
Well, the prices of computer games right now are £10 to £15. If somebody buys the game and you know, and it's any good, it's obviously they're going to copy it.
Well, just because they are going to do it is no excuse for making it legal for them to do so. For example, Matthew, if you invented a computer game, would you want everybody to have a copy of it without paying money to you?
Just a minute.
Would you or wouldn't you?
No.
No. Well, neither does the one that invented the ones that you'd like to pirate. Hello, Phil.
Hello? Alan?
Yes?
Have you heard of Millwall Football Club?
As it happens, yes. How do Paul?
How do, Alan? Alan? Alan?
Yes, we've done all the greetings.
Yeah. I'd like to talk to you about pets on the television, and that there's not enough public. How can I put it?
I don't know how you can pull it, but when you do know, perhaps you'd like to ring me back. Hello, Carl?
Hello, Alan. I'd like to talk about when I bought my brother a watch for Christmas.
Well, we don't want to hear about when you bought your brother a watch for Christmas. Hello, David.
Hello, Alan. What do you think about Scousers?
I don't answer questions to start conversations. Goodbye. Hello, Joanne. Goodbye, Joanne. I haven't got all night to wait for a prat, even if it's a pratess. Hello, Neil.
Hello, Alan. I'd like to talk about cruise missiles. What do you think?
That's a question. Goodbye. How do, Jamie?
How do, Al? I was walking down the road the other day, and I tripped on a pavement.
Why weren't you looking where you were going?
I was out, but...
Well, why didn't you trip then?
It was dark, you see.
It was dark. Well, you weren't looking then. You weren't able to see.
Well, and
Was it totally dark?
well, very dark.
Very dark. Not totally dark.
No, No,
How do you know it was a curb you tripped over?
because when I stood up, my leg was bleeding and I looked.
Well, no, if you fell over a dead dog, your leg would still bleed. How do you know it was a curb?
I saw the curb sticking
I
up.
thought you said it was dark.
Well, I looked, I felt it.
Well, you should have looked when you were walking, shouldn't you? How do Raymond?
Yeah, I'd like to talk about paper racks, please.
About what?
Paper racks.
Paper racks.
Yeah,
I see.
I think they're useless.
Well, I don't even know what they are.
Well, they're no good ones. See, you get bits of paper and put them in.
Just any bits of paper?
Yeah, newspapers and magazines and all.
Oh, I
crap
see.
like that.
I know what you mean now. Magazine racks is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
proper title, yes. Now we know what you're talking about.
Well, they're no good.
Well, they're all right if all you want to use them for is putting the occasional magazine in.
Well, but they're no good whatsoever.
No good whatsoever. They have no use at all.
No, they
Under
don't have
any
no
cir-
use.
I see. What use have you attempted to put this magazine rack
Well, you
to?
could put plants in it, make it look better or something.
You could, yes. That isn't what they were designed for. Have you considered... Silly thought, I know, but have you ever considered putting magazines in it?
I can't read so well.
Obviously, that's why you're as thick as pig muck. Hello, Christian? Christopher.
Christopher,
What do you want?
talk about Colonel Gaddafi.
Go on.
I think he's a nutcase.
That it?
Pardon?
Is that it?
No. I think that if the Russians ever give him a nuclear bomb, he would be thick enough to fire it.
Well, do you think the Russians are thick enough to give him a nuclear weapon?
Pardon?
Do you think the Russians are, to use your wonderful description, thick enough to give him a nuclear
I
weapon?
don't know.
You don't know. Would you not think you need to give that some thought?
Yeah.
Okay, well, when you've thought, ring me back. Hello, Gerard.
Hello, Alan. I'd like to talk about farmers, please.
Well, there's nobody preventing you at this end.
Right. I took my dog for a walk today up a public footpath, right? And the farmer told me to get off his land. And I think that I have the right to walk up his footpath. It's a public footpath, you see, and it had a sign.
If it is a proper designate footpath, you are entitled to walk it.
Yeah, but he told me to get lost, you see, Alan.
So?
And so
Did you get lost?
What can I do about it?
You can do nothing. You just continue to walk.
Alan, I have, yeah, but it's not really nice walking along where he gets out.
Well, Gerard, I suggest you wear earmuffs in future. You won't hear him.
Hello, Alan. I think they should put a ban on two-car doors unless they can get a safety standard in them.
On what?
On two-door cars, you know.
Oh, two-door cars?
Yeah,
you
because...
said two-car doors before.
Okay, yeah. Well, if they have an accident and the people in front are unconscious, what chance do they have getting out? I think they should put some safety mechanism on the window so you can get out.
It's an interesting thought.
Would you agree with me?
I'd have to consider the matter, but on the face of it, it makes sense.
So, in other words, you agree?
Not necessarily. I would want to see some evidence that there is a danger, rather than just your suggesting that there might be, and me not able, because I have not statistics available to me, to investigate or even research the investigations performed by the motor vehicle accident units that exist, these research establishments. It would seem, I suggest to you, that they've given the matter some thought. And the chances of an accident where both front seat passengers were pinioned in their seats and unconscious, I suggest are quite slim.
Yeah. David Abel.
How do, Debbie? Fine, Debbie. Didn't realise you were a pillock. Hello, Phil.
Hello, Allan Beswick. Do you remember the Malloy family?
No.
Oh, do you know his son? He came on the
I've already said no, so whether we talk about his son, his uncle, his grandmother, the answer remains the same, you prat. Hello, Tony.
Hello, Alan. I wonder if you could help me.
So do I. I wonder every night whether I can help you, Tony.
We're having a bit of argument here with me, mate. Can you tell me, we're arguing about who painted the Mona Lisa.
Leonardo da Vinci. It's very nearly time for the 11 o'clock news. Indeed, it's only 4 seconds away. If you'd wish to join us after the news, you can on Preston 56 1000.
The 11 o'clock news. This is Therese Birch.
That has got to be the most expensive geriatric hospital in the world, hasn't it? Hampton Court, there's all them old biddies there. Ain't nothing wrong with old biddies, but for crying out loud, millions of pounds worth of property and they're living there. Hecky thump.
Ring him if you dare.
Allan Beswick, the late night show.
And another thing, them people what were living there, them women what were living there in what are known as grace and favour apartments. In other words, they pay pig all for 'em. And they're the widows of people who serve their country. There's no way around that. Their husbands, they were colonels and generals and brigadiers and other killers. And also they were diplomats and the like. And when they passed on, their wives moved into these grace and favour apartments. However, if you were just some poor squaddy in the Second World War and you got one of your legs shot off, then your wife doesn't live in luxury, does she? She struggles on the pittance that the disgusting government gives to you. But still, that's justice, innit? The officers and their wives are looked after, while the poor squaddy gets a bullet through the throat for naught. Hello, Dave. Are you going to speak to us, Dave, or is this beyond you?
Oh, yeah, I'm here now.
Well, we don't care where you are. We want to know whether you're going to speak or not.
Yeah, I am.
Well, get on with it.
If you think football's so crap...
Goodbye. How do, Chris?
How do, Alan? I've noticed at the beginning of most of your callers, you seem to be writing something down.
It's their name.
What on earth you're writing?
I'm writing their name.
Is that all?
Well, what else do you want me to write? For example, Chris, as I said to you, how do, Chris, I wrote down the name John, because that's the next caller.
Oh, I thought you might have been writing something down for your later advertisements on Red Rose for your own programme.
No, I just write this down. No, that all comes out my head, that stuff.
Oh.
But all I'm writing down is the caller's name.
Is that? Oh, well.
Sorry to disappoint you, Chris.
It is a bit of a disappointment. I thought you were...
Never mind.
Oh, well.
You'll have to live with it. We all have our crosses to bear.
Yeah, okay.
Sarah.
Right, bye-bye.
How do, John?
Alan.
Yeah.
But I didn't answer the question.
You didn't ask me. You just said Alan.
You just said yes, and that's an answer to a question.
Well, what was the question? One word in that context cannot be a question.
I've heard you quote, and I quote from you this now.
Feel free.
Yes is an answer to a question.
Yes can be the answer.
No.
But it can also be many other things.
Like what?
An abbreviation of a statement, such as, yes, what do you want? It is a time
when I
filler.
said Alan, that was an abbreviation of a question.
Was it?
Yeah, I mean...
What was the abbreviation?
Alan, is that you on the end of the phone?
I see. Well, I'm not on the end of the phone.
Well, where are you then?
I'm actually sat in a studio. How do, Matthew?
Hello, Alan. I'd like to talk about corporal punishments in schools, please.
Then go on.
I think it's wrong, and it's immoral.
Immoral? Immoral's an extraordinary word to use.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's right that, some guys should...
Obviously, if you think it's wrong, you don't think it's right. But why do you think it's immoral?
Well, it's like bullying, isn't it? I mean, it's just...
No, it's in many ways...
It's a form of bullying, Alan.
It is in many ways dissimilar to bullying.
Alan, well, it is, really.
Bullying...
A bigger guy's hitting a smaller guy.
Indeed, but I can recall situations when I was at school where one of our teachers was striking in the normal way a pupil, and the pupil was 6'4", weighed 14 stone, was as fast can be, and played prop forward for Lancashire. So quite honestly, your suggestion that it was bullying is ludicrous. If the assaulted pupil had so desired, he could have chewed up the little nonsense giving him the cane. But he didn't, so it isn't a form of bullying at all.
Alan, the thing is, right, this pupil wasn't, couldn't hit this master back, otherwise he'd been expelled. I mean, the master...
If you're suggesting that there was a rule of order, and that was maintained by the cane, and that maintenance by the cane is bullying, I reject your suggestion. If you're saying that the hierarchical structure of a school is such that master must always rule, then I'm afraid I'm bound to say to you, yes, that is the case.
Alan, have you ever seen anybody who's been beaten? I mean, severely.
It depends on what you mean. It depends on what you mean by beaten severely.
Well, it's pretty grotesque, actually. I mean,
well, it depends on what you mean by severely. There are those that.
I mean, all right. I mean, I'll give you an example. I won't name the school I was at, right? But
what do you mean by beaten severely? That's all we want
with
to
a
know.
cane, 6
We know
times,
what.
as hard as the teacher could hit him.
The answer to that is not only have I seen it, I have been it.
You went. Where did you get it, Alan?
Where? At school.
Do you agree with it? I mean, you like...
Agree or disagree?
You're into bondage.
Agree or disagree, bondage isn't actually striking people, as no doubt one day you'll find out. Perhaps you should have been caned more often. Your education would have been a little...
301 medium wave.
I'll do Mike.
Hi, since last night, well, you said that when my genitals are chopped low, I could talk about them, and they have done.
Fine, what do you want to say about them?
Well, I think it's up to people whether they want to stand naked in nudist magazines and that.
Fine.
Showing their things like...
Well, who's suggesting it's not up to them?
Well, everyone says it's...
Everyone?
disgraceful.
Everyone? That includes me.
Lots of people say it's disgraceful.
Oh, lots of people.
Yeah.
I don't agree that lots of people say that.
Well, it's been in the papers and that.
Well, just because it's in the papers, which papers are you talking about?
Well, things like The Sun and...
The Sun. We don't have conversations on this programme about tabloids. The information in tabloids is always suspect.
And the Daily Telegraph.
The Daily Telegraph?
Yeah.
Don't talk crap.
It was, I was reading it, and
Don't talk crap.
Yesterday,
Don't talk crap.
It's not crap.
Would you like to send me a photocopy of the Daily Telegraph yesterday's item? All right?
The 31st of March.
I'm sorry?
The 31st of March copy.
What date was it yesterday?
The 31st of March.
So why did you bother to ask that question?
Why did the world dress that
Well, you
way?
said, do I mean the 31st of March? If I said yesterday's, the day when you said you were reading it, I could, on this occasion, only have meant the 31st of March. Wouldn't you agree?
What wouldn't I agree?
Would you not agree that the only date that could apply to yesterday would be the 31st of March?
Well, it depends whether it's a leap.
It doesn't depend, you godless gut!
How do, Stanley?
Hello, Alan. I'd like to talk about computer tape piracy, please.
Well, we don't want to hear it. It's always crap. Hello, James.
My name's James.
Yes or no? Fine, we're all dead pleased. Hello to line 7. Terry.
Good evening, Alan.
Is it?
Hello.
Yes, we've done that. What do you want?
Good evening.
Yes, we've done that.
All right, I'll try again. Following up a previous call yesterday evening when I couldn't get through about Four Feather Falls. Do you remember that conversation?
Yes.
Well, he said that the name of the horse was Rocky.
He did indeed.
And the dog was called Pedro.
Mm-hmm.
Did anyone come back on the possibility that the dog may have been called Dusty?
Nobody came back. No one at all.
Just a thought. That's what I thought the dog was called.
Okay, Terry.
Thank you.
We would like confirmation of the name of the dog in Four Feather Falls.
Ask Dave Swanton. He may know.
He may well know. He's got no else to do all day. He works in insurance.
I'll ask him in the morning. I'm seeing him.
You don't work in insurance as well, do you?
Sorry, I'm afraid I do, yeah.
Good grief. Ta!
See you now.
How do, Darren?
Right, you know these stereos? Right, they sell them us, right, and they've got 2 tapes, and they say you can't tape tapes. What do you think about that?
What do I think about what?
Well, they give you 2 a double cassette, and you're not meant to tape tapes. And they say it's illegal.
They're correct. I'll do Kit.
Michael, Devon is calling.
That it?
Yeah.
Right. Hello, Scott.
Soon the whole world will know my name.
Will we be bothered? Hello, Robin.
Alan. I I'd like to talk to you about a certain religion. I can't remember what they are, but it was on telly. Somebody was telling me about, I think there was some Asian religion, and they go to this church. I think it was the mosque, the church, and they all wash their feet and wash their face and nose and swell themselves out in the same water and wipe their faces and everything on the same towel, and it's no, and they think it's so acceptable. It's no wonder people say they smell, is it?
Well, I don't know any reasonable human being that does say that. I know some filthy crap like you that says it, but what do you expect when you've got a fairy name like Robin? Howdy, Mark!
Hello, Alan. I'd like to talk about nightclubs, actually. We went to a nightclub on Saturday night, and as you know, the clocks went forward, didn't they? Well, the only problem is the bar actually shut at 1 o'clock. Now, when the actual clocks go back, right, they don't extend the drinking up time, to 3 o'clock, and it's a bit misleading, this.
Well, I shouldn't worry about it too much. Just do what the nightclub proprietor says he wants you to do.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is, surely they should have some sort of notices.
Why?
Well, just to tell you, I mean, if you're a regular every week, and all of a sudden you go in, and...
Well, first of all, what time is the bar supposed to close?
2 o'clock.
Right, well, your watch will no doubt say 2 o'clock at the time, which will later become 1 o'clock.
This is true, but when...
Right, well, when your watch says 2 o'clock first time, pig off home. How do, Warren?
Oh, Alan, about this Leonardo bloke. He didn't paint the Mona Lisa,
Fine.
It was Camel Layers he painted on arm on boats.
Oh, I see, very good. Yeah, well, if you say so, yes. How do, David?
Hello, Alan. I'd like to talk about the conditions of the roads.
Well, what's stopping you, David?
The roads around Wrexham area.
Yeah, well, walk on the footpath, David. It'll solve your problem. Hello, Bernard.
Hello, why are you such a big...
How do... Who was it on line 8? Hello, Anne.
Hello, Mr. Beswick. I've been trying to get you for
Well, you've got me now. What do you want?
Well, during the last 3 months, I've had 4 different envelopes from well-noted charities asking me to put money in the envelopes. I've put money in the envelopes, and I'm sick of dusting them because no one's been. Can you understand that?
No, I can't understand it, but if I were you, Anne, I'd take the money out of the envelope again.
Well, I'd feel guilty if I did that.
Well, don't feel guilty. Do it immediately.
All right, dear.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Ta-ra. How do, Paul?
Could you give me salt, please, Alan?
Sorry?
Could you give me salt, please?
No idea whether I'll give you any help or not.
Well, I left me lighter at Hampton Court yesterday, and do you think it'd be all right?
I shouldn't think so, no. I think they've probably sold it as a work of art. How do, Stephen?
Hello, Alan. Allow me just to tell you one thing, that a lot of computer programmers, of which I am one, produce software simply so that it can be pirated amongst ourselves. So that because, say, with the BBC Micro, which I use a lot, the amount of software available for that machine is dwindling very rapidly. And a lot of companies, if you send them a program, they simply won't bother duplicating it on a cassette because it's not worth it. So what a lot of programmers do is produce a piece of software and then pirate it, give it to other programmers in exchange for other software.
It's not pirating if you're recording. The word pirate does not mean to record. Can we establish that, first of all?
Fine.
The word pirate means to steal, basically.
Yeah.
Now, you're not stealing it if it's yours, and if you give somebody else permission to use something that is yours, they are not stealing that use. So it's not pirating, it is just recording. You've got the right to do it. Who's trying to stop you? Not me.
But when I'm giving a piece of software to that other person, they do then go away and give it to lots of other people in exchange for other pieces of software.
Indeed, but if when you give that piece of software to that individual, you give it with the proviso that they can distribute it in whatever way they see fit, then they're not breaking any regulation.
Fine.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
How do, Mike?
Hello, how big's your knob, Alan?
Right, depends on which one you mean, but the one on the door's about 2 inches across on a good day. Hello, Terry.
Hello? Hello, Alan?
Yes?
I'd like to ask you advice on something. At the moment, I'm unemployed and claiming unemployment benefit, but I've been offered a job in South London, Croydon, starting this next Monday. As I'm unemployed, I have no money, so I've been to see about if I could claim any money for my digs while I got my first wage at work. I rung the DHSS up in Preston, and they told me that, seeing as I'm be working down in Croydon, that they couldn't do anything for me, and to ring the DHSS up at Croydon. But I've rung them up, and they've told me that they can't pay for any lodgings because I'm actually starting work on the Monday. I wondered if you could give me any advice.
I'll give you some very specific advice. Go to your Citizens Advice Bureau tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay?
Would they be able to help me?
Well, you'll find out when you go tomorrow, won't you?
Okay then, thanks
All right.
a lot.
How do Ray? How do Graham?
Hello, Alan. I would like to ask you my advice about my father's temperament.
Nothing I can do about your father's temperament. Goodbye. How do Mick?
Hello, Alan. I'd like to talk about CND and all these other products who are trying to ban the bomb. You know, those green and common women. I mean, the task is impossible. Really. There's no way they can ban it. No matter what they do, I'll say.
So?
So why do they carry on? Why do all these people...
Because they don't believe what you believe.
Yeah, but how can they? If the government said tomorrow, OK, we'll ban it, and then a war comes along, they'll build them straight away again. So what's the point of getting rid of them?
Well, first of all, we've got to say that once they cease to manufacture nuclear weapons, you cannot overnight recommence making them. That's point one. But the issue you are applying your somewhat questionable mind to is rather more complex than that. The people at Greenham Common, and indeed the Campaign for Nuclear Armaments, are not only interested in the removal of the nuclear weapon in Britain, but the removal of it in total.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about in Britain.
I see.
I'm talking all over the world.
Well, if every single nuclear weapon was eliminated, and I appreciate the difficulties of that, indeed the current impossibility of that, but if it was eliminated from the whole world, then it would not be easy to recommence the manufacture of those weapons clandestinely.
Why not? The technology's there.
Clandestinely. Do you know what that word means?
No.
In secret. In other words, other people would be aware that you were building them.
Yeah. So they would start building them as well.
That may be the response, but the fact that people would find out if you were building them in a peaceful world may well be deterrent in its own right. Because as soon as you started to build a nuclear weapon, somebody could then utilize various processes to, for want of a better term, destroy your opportunity.
Yeah, but what happens when a war comes along?
Well, one of the first things that might result in the removal of nuclear weapons is actually the removal of warfare.
Do you think that's possible?
It's not really important as to whether I think it is possible. What we have to consider is the danger of the existence of the weapons.
Well, everybody knows the existence of the weapons in any weapon.
I'm sorry?
Everybody knows the danger of the bomb and any weapon.
Mike, what you have to really consider is, as long as we've got those weapons, they will be used. They already have, and they will be again. There's no question of that. There is no doubt in my mind. I cannot perceive a situation where they will spend the money they have spent on a weapons system and not eventually use it. There is also the grave danger of error, the grave danger of accident. And I'm sorry, this world cannot afford that danger.
Yeah.
So,
all that money, they're not
we have got to do one of two things. We have got to either remove the danger or be prepared to die as a result of it. Now, the people at Greenham Common and CND, I cannot speak for. But for me, I happen to be a member of CND, but for me, I would sooner die at the hands of a nuclear aggressor than give the franchise to somebody else to fire a nuclear weapon on my behalf. Now, that is a matter of principle. It's got nothing to do with the practicalities. I'm not one of those people who says, it is impossible, I'll give up now. Some are. If you're that kind of person, fine. I'm not.
What, you mean?
I do not give up the impossible objective if the objective is worth it.
Yeah, but...
The world is full of those who are prepared to surrender. I am not.
No, I'm not one of those, but I'm prepared to face facts.
Facing facts is, in some instances, a surrender. You surrender to what you believe to be inevitable. But if you surrender to the inevitable, you make it inevitable. If you oppose the inevitable and do all within your power to oppose the inevitable, and if by the continuation of that process you encourage others so to do, then the inevitability of it would withdraw, and indeed it might reverse.
Yeah, but no matter how many people do it or say it, the government, after the
Well, let us first of all,
money, are not
Mike,
going to whack them all out.
Mike, I promise you, without any shadow of a doubt, that if 95% of the population of Britain wrote individually to the Prime Minister saying they do not want nuclear weapons, they would be gone within the hour.
But what about the rest?
No, what about? You said they cannot get rid of them. That is a fact. Now, the unrealistic, or the realistic attitude is, of course, that all those people are not going to do so, because they're all sitting at home saying it's impractical. There are those who hold the view that that would be dangerous. Now, that's a point of view I can understand. It's not one I agree with, but it's one that I understand. Fine.
What about those who don't want to get rid of them?
Well, those are the ones I'm on about. Those are the ones that would say such a point of view, such a process would be dangerous. Now, fine, I can converse with those. But people like you, Mike, who say, well, we mustn't try and get rid of them because we'll never succeed, I merely regard as nothings, vacuums, wastes of space.
Wastes of space.
In other words, it's hardly worth being born if all you're going to do is surrender.
I'm not surrendering.
You are. You're saying it's impossible. Well, fine. If it's impossible because of the likes of you.
Likes of me?
Yes. You're the one that makes it impossible.
I weren't the one who made it possible.
That's not what I said. But if you want to hide behind that belief, be my guest.
Okay.
Isn't it time you started to make your own mind up?
I have made my own mind up.
And what is your point of view?
Yeah.
What is your point of view?
My point of view is that it's impossible or inevitable.
Well, let me ask you a simple question first. I think that suits your mentality. Do you think nuclear weapons are a good thing or a bad thing?
They're a bad thing, obviously.
And are you prepared to accept the existence of a bad thing merely because it's bigger than you?
Yeah.
Then you're not only a wimp, but a coward as well.
I admit I'm a coward.
Well,
I'm not shaming that.
Well, if you see no shame in being a coward, fine.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
How do, Jack?
Hello, Alan. I just live on a farm, and I just wanted to ask you a question. You know, the farm next to us has a lot of rats, and he's breeding these rats. There's about 50 rats. You know what I can do about it? He's selling droppings off them. Selling the droppings off the rats.
Well, just buy some. That's the best thing to do. Keep the man happy. Hello, Paul.
There was an egg and a sausage in the frying pan. Right, and the egg goes to the sausage. It's hot in here, isn't it? And the sausage goes, bloody hell, a talking egg.
Somebody told me that one on Wednesday night as well. How do, Sean?
Hello, I want to tell you about my car. You get all these adverts about buying British. I bought a car, and you've got that many idiots ripping people off. I mean, they said buy British, you buy British, and the actual bloke that's selling you is a foreigner. And he rips you off that much. I bought a car, the engine broke down, it's under warranty. They sent it back with a bill for like 800 quid.
So what are you going to do in future? Are you going to buy a foreign car in future?
I don't know.
And do you think foreign cars are infallible? No, they're not. I can tell you as many complaints about Fiats as you can tell me about Fords. Well, fine. Buy a foreign one next time. You won't upset me.
All right, then.
All right. Bye-bye.
Hey, Howard.
I'll do Matthew.
Hello, Alan. I'd like to talk about ringworm and the potential danger it's posing towards mankind.
I've never had a worm in my ring. I'll do David.
Good evening, Alan. If we're going to reveal important facts on the programme, perhaps we can get them right.
I shouldn't think so.
Dusty was the dog.
Okay.
Ricky was the horse. Pedro was a bandit, as was Fernandez.
There you go. We make progress at last. Thank you.
I ask you, was Oink.
Oink?
Oink.
Oink.
Graduate into the realms of Stingray, and perhaps I'll give a free subscription to the person who can tell me who Oink was in Stingray.
Oh, I know who you are. I know who you are. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm okay.
Good.
You're still doing all the Super Mario Nation membership bit?
Oh, you've got to do. You've got to do.
You've got to do. I haven't. Anyway, Oink. Who was Oink in Stingray?
Who was Oink in Stingray, and a free two-issue subscription to that publication that's still going from strength to strength.
Right, well, go on. Name your publication.
SIG, the official Jerry Anderson fan magazine, born and bred in Lancashire.
Smart as out.
All the very best.
Ta-ra.
Ta-da.
I'm not going to tell you what that man does for a living. How do Paul?
Hello, Alan. I'd just like to say that I think school should be optional from the age of 15. Because if people have got a job to go to at that age, with the jobs as they are now, I think they should go and get it whilst they can.
Fine, but of course, from the point of view of the individual who has the job to go to, that would be advantageous. But that provides the government with nothing, because it merely means that the job is taken by an individual. The great problem is that if you make school optional at the age of 15, you then mean you've got an extra 12 months of people available for work, and that will do the statistics no good. It also means that you will have people with time on their hands, and the devil, I'm afraid, finds work for idle hands.
But surely, if people have got to work to go in, especially people who perhaps can get a job on their own farm or in a family business,
Indeed.
Surely they should leave school and get the job, working. I mean, if the qualifications are going to be...
The problem with that is you can extend that backwards to the age of 11, can't you, really? If you're going to have a job, I'm going to work in Daddy's business, then fine. What's the point of going to school at all? But you would end up in a situation eventually where some parents would ruin their children's education for the short-term benefit it will give to the parents, i.e. they will have an extra labourer.
But also, I mean, another fact that could come into it is perhaps they should have... School should be a different system for those who have got jobs to go to. If they could just learn a basic knowledge up to the age of 15 without having to do qualifications, then, then go into the job. But, I mean, I agree, if they haven't got a job to go to, we should stay on at school. But if not, I definitely think you should leave.
But fine, if you think they should leave at 15, I disagree. I think we should allow children to be children. Although my parents, your parents, and probably their parents, all started work at very young ages. I started work at the age of 16 because I went to a technical school. But I don't honestly think we should be forcing children, or indeed encouraging children, to become work people so early. I think we need to give people, young people, more time to be children, more time to be young.
Yeah, but school doesn't always... It isn't always, you don't always feel young when you're at school, because like myself, I mean, I'd rather be out working because I've come very disillusioned with